Well, congratulations and welcome to the final building video. I'm going to string up the ukulele and I've got some tools to help me. I've got an awl and a screwdriver and some nippers I've got a tuner and a string winder. These are the nuts, which I bought on Amazon, and they come in packs of 10. They're very cheap and they're made out of plastic in China. The bridge is going to sit right here. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of glue just to keep the bridge in place. And these are the ukulele strings I like to use. Ernie ball, they're black, which is kind of cool. And they have the ball ends on them. They're much easier to install because, well, first of all, we're not using the kind of bridge that ties, and we've drilled holes in the soundboard to hold the strings in place. I'm going to start with the string closest to me. And another thing I like to do is make sure that the tuning pegs are all aligned so the holes are sideways to the instrument. So here's the string, and you can see it's tied and it has a little ball on it. Take the ball and push it through one of our holes that we drilled. Make sure it's in there, not just sit it in a hole, and then tug it tight into the slot that was cut. I need an extra hand, so I'm going to use a bar clamp just to hold the ukulele in place. So when I'm putting on the strings, first thing that's going to happen, I want to tell you, is that the bridge is going to move around because it's not dried yet. That's okay. It doesn't have to go into the slot immediately before you put it into the tuning peg. But I'm going to show you the technique that I use for locking the strings on so they don't slip. But something to consider is how much slack you need in a string. You don't want to have too much slack because then it just kind of winds around itself, and it will take forever to tune because these strings do stretch quite a bit. Although I have to say, the Ernie ball stretch a lot less than some other ukulele strings I've used. We need to keep tension over the top of the bridge, and one way to do that is to make sure that the string goes towards the bottom of the peg as it wraps around, not at the top of the peg. So the angle will be more acute going over the bridge. How much? I really can't tell you. That's just something you'll have to experiment with. So I'm going to take the string and I go through the tuning peg hole from the inside towards the outside. And pull it through. I'm going to give it a couple of fingers of slack here. Now, I take the string, I wrap it around the top end of the tuning peg, and then I'm going to go under this string and pull it out to the side. And now I go back the other direction towards the top of the instrument. And so it's kind of locking the string in place. I'm going to hold some tension here. And I'm going to turn the tuning peg counterclockwise, which is making it tighten. As soon as the string locks in place, you can let go of the floppy end. And I'm pushing the string down towards the headstock to keep it moving in that direction. And you'll feel ta-da! I'm going to cut this off with about 1 inch extra hanging over. Okay, so I did one side, and now I'm going to do the other side, but I'm not going to, look, if I try and put this here now, look at the bridge, it just moves. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to try and keep it in the middle. Let's try another angle so you can see this locking technique. So first of all, the peg hole is sideways to the box. I go in from the inside, coming out. I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to give it a couple of fingers of slack right here. Okay, here it comes. So I take the string, I go over the top side. Now I'm going to go under the string, pull it through, and now I'm going to pull it back this direction. I need to keep some tension on it so it doesn't unwind. Now I'm going to turn the tuning knob. Can you see how I've pushed the strings to the bottom of the tuning peg to create more of an angle over the bridge? And just a couple more strings to go. I'm going to tune it up now. G, C, E, A. I have to warn you, it takes a long time for the ukulele strings to stretch out. And it's kind of frustrating. You might be sitting here turning the knob and you just don't even hear the pitch change because the strings are stretching as you tune it. So have some patience. Okay, I've tuned it up and the strings have stretched out enough to hold a tune. I'm going to take a look at the final stages of the setup here, which is the string height. And I hope you can see. Let's see. Take a look at how high the strings are off of the fretboard. And it's pretty high. And that's fine. It's better to have it too high than too low. Because this bridge is a 1/2 inch in height, we have plenty to work with. And the nice thing about a wood bridge is you can always just take it down very easily. One thing I'd like to do is to cut little notches in the top here of the bridge to keep the strings in place so they don't move around. Although, frankly, just from the pressure, they've already worn themselves into the wood pretty well. And that will help to bring the action down a little bit. You don't want the action so low that the strings buzz on the frets. And another thing about the ukulele is, generally speaking, people use this much of the ukulele. They don't really go up the fret too much. So as long as you can play it down here, you're probably okay. To make the little notches for the string saddle, I have a little triangular file. I'm just going to move the string over a little bit and put a notch into the top of the wood. And just do that 3 more times. Thank you for joining along on this journey, building box ukuleles or box guitar. It's the same thing. If you decide to make one, or if you decide to work with a class of students to make them, I sure would love to hear about it.